Welcome to Chaos Conjure,
the podcast where we navigate the complexities of being pagan in an Appalachian mountains.
This is Jay.
This is Dottie.
Fill your sippy cups.
Put on your grippy socks.
And grab your magic wands.
Hi, this is Dottie. I wanted to say a couple of things before we get started with the episode. The first is, don't be stupid with your magic. You are responsible for whatever you do. I don't think we actually suggested any baneful magic for anybody to do. But even if we had, you ultimately are responsible for your own magical hygiene and moral compass. And we do get pretty deep into the conversation about magic's place in protest. The second thing I wanted to say is a content warning. We do discuss medical racism. There are a couple historical events that are brought up. I've put links in the description. So if you don't know what we're talking about when we say something, I've tried to put some sort of link so that you can go and learn more. So let's get started. All right, y'all. Welcome back to another Chaos Conjure with...
Hi, I'm Jay.
And Dottie.
And we are in separate places today only because our schedules do not. When our schedules line up, it works, but then we literally only are around each other for like an hour or two, and we can't settle down long enough to do this.
No kidding. Well, and it's like we do a lot of social stuff together. I just mean, like, we're real life friends, so this is not the forefront of our relationship.
Right. And when we try to do this, we have to literally schedule it out. And yeah, for one reason or 15 others, it doesn't work out.
So we decided to do it. Y'all, look, see my pride flag. The sun's down a little bit in the back, so it's not quite so blown out as it usually is. Looper! My husband ran the dog so we could do this recording without being interrupted by the looper, but we waited so long that he's back home.
That's fine. We love him.
We love a looper.
We do.
Let's see if we can get a good... I have to edit in a picture of Luther, like here, his happy pupper when he...
Yes.
Hey, Jay. There's in the background. He's not going to stop and pose for us. He's not going to pose for us today.
So today we are talking about, I don't want to say hexing the patriarchy because
I think it's way more than that.
Yeah, and I don't like that phrase because, when you are hexing the patriarchy, when you are attacking the government, that sort of, well, I'm not going to say attacking, when you are hexing the government, that sort of thing, sometimes we have good people in government. There might not be a whole lot of them, but we do have some people that are there that are trying really hard.
Right.
And I think that when you attack, because that is how I see it is an attack, even if it's in defense. But when you do that, you're hitting the good guys too.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, there's some exceptions to that. I'd say anybody who is working with ICE at this point, you're culpable. Fuck you.
Well, oh yeah, ICE is totally different. But
the guy at the DMV didn't do shit.
But wait, hold on. This is the thing though, because we're in West Virginia and we had what was it? It was Taze Valley. The Taze Valley Police Department or Fire Department.
Yeah.
So,
oh my God, yeah.
They didn't know. They were told that there were people stuck on the roof. They were told that there were people trapped on the roof that needed help getting down. And so that's why they showed up. Once they got there and started trying to help the people get down, they realized that it was an ICE situation. I found this out firsthand because I actually talked to one of the guys that was there.
Aaron told me about that. 'Cause, you know, he's got contacts.
And so if we are going after ICE and all the people that help ICE, and those are my great big quotes because whew, we have to be careful because sometimes, like that particular fire department, and I'm not going to say that there weren't people in the fire department that were like, oh yeah, let's go do this once they realized what was going on. But the call that they got was not, hey, come help ICE. It was, hey, there are people stuck on the roof that need to help getting down. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So
right.
my thing is I don't believe in doing a general, hey, let's go and, you know, hex these people, this group, excuse me, because there are people in that group that aren't bad people.
I agree. And you know what? I kind of want to stop us here and say, like, because I don't want to focus on just hexing the patriarchy, because there is a logistics issue that I think you're correct. There's a good chance that you'll hit somebody who, you know, is a bystander.
Right.
You know, but also I think there are better ways to use protest magic. I think, like, you know, you got to use your rage to some effect, but I know we could do, I'm not going to say we've done any, whatever we've done quietly. We're not going to talk about it on the channel.
Right.
But
hold on, wait, we don't have a piece of paper. Look, hold up my little thing. The things that we say during this podcast,
I will put a real ass prompt there.
Right. You know what I'm saying? But yeah,
the creators of Chaos Conjure would like you to know that any alleged magical incident is alleged.
You know, we did not do it. We are not planning on doing it. We will not do it. Maybe.
Right.
Maybe. But I mean, like, I get it. You feel me? I do think something needs to be done with the government.
Right.
You know, and I have, like, if there was a spell that was to, you know, fix the government, to help the government, like, open their eyes, like something like that. Oh, let's open up their eyes so that they see the truth. That I would go all in and just, you know, blanket government. You feel me?
Right. Yeah. You know what? This is something I actually have had a little bit of experience with, like disillusionment magic. That would be, I think it would be great, like a giant disillusionment spell. It seems to be going on, honestly.
What? Right. I was watching something.
A call to awaken.
Yeah, I was watching something and they were talking about it, and like literally, I got some messages from some friends of mine that practice in different places, and they were like, "Hey, we should do this," like you said, the disillusionment.
I would love to do a mass disillusionment. That would be such a phenomenal.
I would definitely be down for that. But we have good people in government that are trying really, really hard, and I don't want, I just can't see me doing, because we've talked about this on off of camera, and I told you, like, I don't.
Sometimes we need to return a spell. We'll talk vaguely around the issue here, because this is something is some good general knowledge. If you're going to return to
so, one of the things we talked about off, just so that, you know, everybody knows where we're at with that, is doing a protective return to sender. And so
I'm gonna put that rage somewhere. Look, I'm just gonna pretend it's nice. Like, we don't have to pretend,
but it is a protective return to sender, and it bit really hard.
As it should.
Not me, it bit the person that did it, because it went back to the person that sent it. So the person that sent it got bit really hard. But there were people associated with that person that also got bit. And I was telling Dottie earlier, you know, because we were like, well, you know, why does that happen? And I told her, I said, if I say, so, okay, so Dottie's married to a wonderful person. Wonderful person.
Say hello, Aaron.
Hi.
I was waiting for Aaron to be like, hi, Aaron.
Thank you.
But Dottie's married to a wonderful person. And sorry, Aaron, you know I love you. But, you know, if I didn't know Dottie's partner and Dottie comes and says, hey, my partner hit me, you know, Dottie is my friend. So I'm going to be ready to go beat up.
You said that and
Dottie's
got pissed off because all he heard was Dottie said somebody hit me.
Right, right. But you know what I'm saying?
The look on his face just
And see, and that right there is what I'm talking about. There was instant anger, instant, oh my gosh.
there was a physiological response.
Right. And so Aaron immediately is jumping to your defense. So if we lie, you know, if someone tells the lie and someone believes it and they jump to that person's defense, if that lie is 50, you know, has 50% of energy behind it, and then the person that, you know, hears the lie, jumps in, they're putting 100% in it to defend you.
Right.
So when the return to sender comes back and it slaps the shit out of the person that lied in the first place, they get hit with a 50%. Like they get hit with the same energy that they put in multiplied, because some of you guys believe in like the times 3 things.
Oh yeah. Oh, I heard a new aspect at that makes so much more sense than that
Okay.
whole 3, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
But yeah, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of people are like, you know, the times 3 thing, you know, if you send it out, it returns times 3. I personally don't believe that. I always put some oomph behind it. So you might get slapped times 3, you might get slapped times 10, which is actually what happened. But so the person got slapped.
You might keep getting slapped every time you send your shit out.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So they get slapped, and a person that believed the lies they told also got hit. And did I feel bad? No. Do I feel bad now? No. But
also there's that unintended aspect.
Right. It was unintended because that's not the person that should have been hit with it. But if you're going to attack me on behalf of someone else, you deserve to get hit too.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
And so I think that that the disillusionment, the disillusionment spell is so much better than just attacking the government thinking that something's going to change. Because like I said, there are people that are in the government that are really trying to, you know, to make change. So why are we, you know, attacking them too? And then sometimes, very rare nowadays, but sometimes you have people that want something, they want to feel included, they want to feel special. And the government has told them that they are special. You know, they have told them that, you know, that they can do no wrong. And so you have these people out there that are believing the lies that the government is putting out, and they're putting their energy behind the government and these lies, not really realizing how big that lie really is or how deep it goes. And I'm not saying that they're innocent. I'm just saying that they're not as responsible as the person that told the freaking lie.
I agree.
And I know that sometimes, because I've had to do it, sometimes you have to make a choice and go with the lesser of 2 evils. We don't like to do that. I don't do it very often because I will burn the world down because I don't care. But sometimes you have to bite that bullet. Sometimes you have to go with the lesser of 2 evils just so that something can be done. You know, sometimes you have to take 4 steps backwards just to take that 1 step in the right direction. And I just think that doing a blanket, oh, I hate the government type of thing is just doesn't make sense. And then also I kind of have a giggle behind it anyway, because why were we not trying to hex the government and change things back in the 50s and the 60s and the 40s when black people were being mistreated and Jim Crow and all of that, and people were being lynched? But now, because it's white people whose feelings are getting hurt, all of the white witches are out there like, oh, hex the patriarchy. Oh, clutch my pearls. Hex the patriarchy.
You know, we could go into that's a whole nother episode on
That
white
is.
witch
That
versus
is.
black witch, because I would love to have that conversation.
That is. But that's why there are not a lot of black people that are at these protests, like the government protests. You know,
Right.
that's why you don't see a lot of black people that are out there physically, you know, fighting ICE, or, you know, trying to stop ICE in certain areas. It's not because we don't care. It's just, this is a fight that we've been fighting.
You know, I think there's something to be said for that, because I don't think there are less black people. Because when you go to the protest,
it depends on where it is. It's not that there's less black people. It just depends on where it is and what the protest is about.
it also depends on where the camera is. Like, let's not pretend.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
Let's not
Absolutely.
pretend that
Because, but historically, and even now, when there are more black people, there tends to be more violence. Not because of the black people per se,
but because of the government response.
There's a heavier response, right? There tends to be more violence. So, like, I have no problems going out to the protests and stuff, but I also was informed by somebody that did not see me at the protest. You feel me? That that my hair is very noticeable. And, you know, I was like, thanks. And I was all excited. And they were like, no, like, you need to be careful, because you're going to be the one they spot in the crowd.
Yeah. So I remember
and I was like, oh man.
Because we had matching hats, and I've never heard anything about my hat except for, oh, that's cute.
Right. But I'm noticeable in the crowd. I mean, if my hair is pulled back and it's underneath the hat, or, you know, slicked down or whatever, then I probably wouldn't be as noticeable. But when my hair is out, I'm noticeable in the crowd. You know? And so, you know, I take those things into consideration when it comes to wanting to change the government.
You know what? That is true. Like, even in magic, like, because when you send something out, unless you are skilled in baneful magic, and I mean directly skilled, most of us don't bother hiding who's doing it. I don't know. Like, I have seen bitches who've tried. Man, I tell you what, my ex-sister-in-law, fuck her. Fuck my ex-sister-in-law. But for only having 5 other people in the house, somehow she managed to obfuscate that shit. And when I've seen people who do baneful magic regularly, they are all fucked up. Like, I'm not saying I'm not fucked up, but they are distinctly fucked up.
But that's why when I do what I do, and I know that it's going to be something that is baneful, I always wrap it in a protective return to sender, a protective type of thing.
Right.
So,
yeah,
so that I keep my sanity, and I stay within the moral guidelines that I've given myself.
You know what? That is something I agree in, because I never, like, I may create a boundary, a magical boundary, a ward, where the ward itself has the potential to be harmful to the person who
It's like an electric fence. It's like an electric fence. Why are you touching the electric fence? It's like barbed wire. Why are you climbing over my fence? You climbing over a fence. I built my fence. I told you to stay out of it. If you're touching my fence and climbing over my fence, then you're going to get shot. You're going to get zapped by the electric fence. You're going to get stuck on the barbed wire. Whatever it is, you're going to get harmed climbing into my business.
Right.
You know, but that is a protective thing. And that's how I do my things. But
I
yeah,
wanna talk- like we're talking about how not to do protest magic, like, you know, maybe, and there, because we were talking about how you like directly sending baneful energy to the patriarchy or to the government, or even to like, because even if you send it to a specific person, like a lot of times I've seen this around a lot where everybody wants to hex a very specific orange dictator.
okay. Orange is my favorite color, but I can't eat Cheetos anymore because
I get it. We all get it at this point. But he has, you know, and then this is a chaos. You know, we are chaos and conjure, so this is a chaos theory kind of reasoning.
Mhm.
But I have heard it elsewhere. Essentially, you're going to have difficulty hexing something that strong because there is so much built up belief in it.
exactly.
You are essentially
Exactly.
trying to break somebody else's thought form, and like
Their beliefs.
and, you know,
Their literal beliefs.
if
And
Jim and I are breaking the thought form, like somebody sends you some dark magic, that is their thought form. You don't necessarily have to break that. You often just send it back to them. But like,
yeah, right.
either one of us can break most of the dumb shit that's sent to us. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
like I know I had some fucking viewer, some random viewer, try to send some dumb shit to me, and like, by the time I knew it was going on, my spirits were already
Right.
returning
Handling that. Yeah.
favor.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
So
absolutely. Like I laugh. I tell people all the time because really nice viewers out there, just so that you know, 9 times out of 10, if you see me, I'm gonna be by myself. Like I physically, I'm gonna be by myself, but I'm never alone.
right.
I am never alone. My ancestors, my spirit guides, my spiritual team, when I tell you they are with me all the time, they are with me all the time. And I'm not afraid to walk into some place by myself. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, I might not should do that because they tell me not to do it. But
Like,
I've never
okay.
been scared to walk into a place by myself. You know, a lot of times
Right.
they'll say, you know, hold on, you know, when you walk through the door, make sure you know where the exits are, things like that. But
I
I've
just
never
got like
been
more
scared
courage.
to go somewhere, you know. But
I will pet that dog.
I'm not petting the dog. I'm not petting the dog. I will try to take pictures of it. I will
Good.
be close enough to take a good picture. I probably would have been mauled by the cheetah as well. That's unfortunate. That was not a funny, but that was a funny, because what were you thinking? But I am so used to, I don't want to say be hunted, but that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's ingrained in who I am, you know, like I'm 52 years old. 52 years old, y'all. And I've witnessed crosses burning in yards in my lifetime. And I have seen the police brutality. I've seen, you know, I've had a friend that was locked up because of ICE, and he was locked up for a year and a half, and nobody knew where he was. He came home, totally different person, but you know what I'm saying? Things like that. And not once have I been like, you know what? Fuck the entire government. Like at all. Never once have I been like, fuck the entire government. I've been, you know what? Fuck that person. You know? And I just think that it's now, with it affecting, excuse me,
A broader.
affecting more people who do not have color in their skin, it's a bigger deal. You know, now that it's not as hidden, I guess is a better way of saying it too. It's more out in the open. It's less secretive. Now everybody's like, oh my gosh, what's going on? We need to do something. And, you know, we've been preaching that for years, you know, and I say we, and I include you in that because the LGBTQ, all of that, and the Black people, it's been, things need to change.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Things need to change. You know,
And I know people got,
Martha
and I
threw
have
a
to say that
bit. You feel
people
me?
got lazy. People got late. Well, I mean, like, especially there's a whole generation that has been taught that they are incapable of changing anything.
Right. And then you have people that feel like they're entitled because it didn't affect them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so with Dottie, with you, you know, looking like you do, you feel me?
The color of milk.
Minus the hat, and before you cut off your hair, but
That look normal. Listen. The amount I lost when I went from looking normal to, like, I remember because one time when I was back in the nursing home, back on the mountain, which is not what I would consider a privileged experience. I can see where the privilege is, but also it's hard.
right.
A lot of times it's hard to observe that privilege when you're in a bad fucking place.
Right, but that's what I'm saying though. Like, I didn't say you were, you know, you are privileged because
Right.
you know me.
I was
But-
telling a whole story.
But look, did you hear me?
What?
You are privileged because you know me. But
It is a privilege to know you. It is.
it's
But
if
no,
we
I got a whole
see-
story. I got a whole story. I was getting it.
Sorry,
So
go ahead.
when I was back up on the mountain, for you
Mhm.
who don't know, I was an LPN for 10 years, married to an alcoholic, worked night shift. It was very isolating experience. So sort of running slowly into the nervous breakdown. Like the nervous breakdown cost me social moray. But I dyed my hair purple. Like it was an unrealistic color, and I'll never forget how much flack I got from other white bitches. Like we're all white. There was one mixed girl and one lady from Puerto Rico in the whole nursing home, and we had one resident who was Black. I got so much shit from other white bitches whose hair was not a natural color. It was the fucking fire engine red with white random streaks. Like, you did not, that is not your hair. There are too many blonde people. There are too many. I got 5 bitches here who's got their normal colored hair. Why are you all talking about my color? How you got Sonic the Hedgehog taking care of patients in the other room? Why? She had that same hairdo since God was born. But my purple hair, that's the problem. I'm the problem.
America has this, the United States has this weird ass Barbie vision of beauty.
Oh my God, Mar-a-Lago face.
And so when you don't fit that Barbie-esque beauty, there's something wrong. Like there's something wrong. And
Right.
and it's a blanket Barbie-esque type of beauty, and it's not, oh, there's a Black Barbie. There wasn't a Black Barbie till the 80s. Right, exactly. And then how funny is it that her hair was still straight?
Yeah.
So, but
Happy Black History Month, by the way. And it's our first anniversary. We've been on the air for a whole last year.
woo woo. But yeah, so you know what I'm saying? So when a lot of these people that are, you know, fuck the patriarchy and shit are realizing that their white privilege isn't the same anymore.
You know, here's the thing. Like, there is a because this is something I've been wrestling with since Miss Good died.
Hmm.
Like, why did we only really wake up when a white lady died?
Right.
And
Right.
there's this
So-
psychology around how when you are like, you need one thing to be on the same team.
Right.
You need
But
one
this
thing.
is the thing. So, back in the early 1900s, there was this thing called the Tuskegee experiment.
Oh,
Right.
yeah, I know. I've heard of that.
So-
That one makes me sick.
So, right. But what a lot of people don't remember is the women in Puerto Rico, or they don't know. I'm not going to say they don't remember, they don't know. The women in Puerto Rico were one of the first groups of people that they tested birth control on.
Yes, eugenics.
And no, like they were giving them like birth control, like different forms of birth control to test it out to see if it worked. So then as soon as they realized that it actually worked, they priced it to a point where the Puerto Rican women couldn't afford it. So they were sterilizing them as opposed to like giving them birth control pills or whatever.
Yeah.
Black women were sterilized.
With the Louisiana appendectomy.
You feel me?
Or Mississippi appendectomy.
Yeah. But, you know,
Just look it up, folks.
women of color have had their reproductive rights interfered with, taken away, forced on them, what have you, with no way of protecting themselves. You know, I know older women that are women of color that went to the hospital and had one kid, and they give birth, and while they're there at the hospital, they sterilize them so they can't do it again. You know, so now it's like, and these are things that like I grew up knowing. You know what I'm saying? Be
Yeah.
careful going to the doctor, because you know, you go to the doctor and you tell them that there's anything wrong with your reproductive areas, your reproductive system. They're either not going to believe you, or they're going to take advantage of you and do whatever it is. You know, they're going to do whatever. You're going to go in there and tell them, you know, you have endometriosis. They're going to look at you and tell you that you're wrong. You shouldn't be having sex with the man who has a big ass dick when you're a virgin.
Yeah.
You know,
You know, I know two people.
now, well, this is the thing though. Women of color have had their reproductive rights just so jacked up, you know, and now the government is literally out loud saying, hey, white woman, if you get pregnant, you have to have a kid. You know, and the
so
white
much
women,
more than just that.
no, but I mean, oh, it's way worse than that. But now the white women are like, no, but this is my body. It's my body, my choice. Black women didn't have a choice. You know, a lot of times they didn't have a choice. But now that it is affecting white women, all the white witches want to hex the patriarchy.
You know what? I will say this. I don't think people knew. I think that there has been this age of knowledge at our fingertips, but
Nobody knew. No, well, I'm not
Nobody
going to
knew.
say that people didn't know. The thing is that if it doesn't affect you directly, a lot of times you just kind of ignore it. Oh, okay, I heard this happened. I read about this in a book. I heard about this on TikTok. I heard about this on Instagram. But it doesn't affect you. And until it affects you, you're
Right.
just like, oh, well, that could never be me. You know? Like,
Yeah, but I mean, it could be me. I know people, I know white women who have, I don't know how, there's so many, because especially here in West Virginia.
that's what
where
I was going to say. Here in West Virginia, it's a little different. It's a little different here in West Virginia because West
But
Virginia
we're also-
women are just treated like shit. But
girl. But no, I was talking because I know women who should have had a hysterectomy and they were told that eventually their problems would come back and potentially cause cancer, and they aren't able to get those reproductive health care needs met because the doctors are like, well, maybe you'll want to have a baby.
Well, what happens if you get divorced and you marry somebody else and then he wants a kid? I literally heard a doctor tell somebody that shit.
Yeah.
And I was just like that's crazy. I have a friend who is white. I have several white friends. You're not my token. But
I would be your token if you needed me to be.
I appreciate it. But I have
That's
a white friend that, what did he say?
I said that's a whole story.
Right. But I have a white friend that she was raped and she wanted to have an abortion. And she had the abortion. She did have the abortion. She had to fight for it, but she did have the abortion. Her rapist fought her and was like, that's my baby. Motherfucker, you're in prison. Who's going to raise this kid? You know? And she had to fight to be able to have the daggone abortion.
So gross.
And he fought her against it. So then she has the abortion, and it was so traumatizing to her. She was like, yeah, nah, I take all of this out. You know what I'm saying? She already had health issues that legitimately she could have had a hysterectomy. You know what I'm saying? Right. And she's like, you know what? Just go ahead and just take it. Like, I don't want to do it. She got everything together, had the doctor's notes and stuff that she could have this hysterectomy. And her insurance changed. So she had to start all over. And she went to had to go to a different doctor because insurance changed. And the new doctor said, no, I don't think that you should have a hysterectomy, because what if you get a man? What if you decide to get married and have kids and he wants kids? And she was like, I'm not having children. And he was like, well, you can't make that decision. What if you find a man and he wants children?
What do you mean he can't make that decision? Oh, see, that's the part. I know somebody who knew they never wanted kids when they were younger, but you got to wait until, like, a woman has to wait until, like, what, 27, 30, somewhere in there?
Yeah, it's like 30 almost.
Almost 30 before we can get any permanent sterilization.
Yeah.
But how old does a man have to be to get a fucking vasectomy?
18 to 21.
This is so fucking far off topic.
And the thing,
so fucking far off topic.
The thing.
Oh, we got a better one. I got a better one. So, for those of you who don't know, I have been trying. I've been going through a depressive episode, so I haven't done as much work for them as I would like to. But I've been trying to work with a group called Justice and Jubilee.
Oh, yes.
Yes, through the West Virginia Faith Coalition, trying to get pagan. We're trying to make paganism legit. You know, I won't say make it legit.
Is legit.
We're trying to build a community around it. We are trying to build a community around being pagan, because we are an invisible minority. Off subject. Well, that is a whole subject. I want to get into that. We want to do a whole video on that.
Okay, so let's go back to my whole point with my whole ramble. Sorry, you guys, was that now the things that were that didn't affect everybody, every color, are starting to affect every color out in the open. Because white women were being sterilized in, like, North Carolina and South Carolina, but it was secret.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not secret anymore.
So now it's out in the open. And so now everybody's like, oh, hex the patriarchy, because it's out in the open.
Right.
And for me, what I do is a closed practice. And so I don't, like, thrive in secrecy type of shit, but where were you when the rest of us needed help? You know what I'm saying? And why are you trying to hex the entire government, so you hit the good guys too. And to me, that's hexing the government is the same as drawing down the moon, like them little kids was trying to do a few years back.
Oh, that fucking hex in the moon thing. I still don't think that was real. I think that was a hallucination built on like
Misinformation.
girl, I want to go into like that is a whole nother episode.
Yes.
But I want to tell you my theory on that because I really think that this is a problem that we face in the pagan community. There is a hierarchy. There's a little bit of hierarchy, and everybody thinks that they're higher up on that hierarchy than everybody else.
Yeah.
And especially like if you've been practicing for a little while, everybody's got it out for TikTok witches. So
Yes.
I think that
Which
the
I think
whole
is so cute, though.
I
think
think it was
it's
just
so
an internet hallucination. Like, who
Yes.
the fuck ever actually did that? We never found a name. We never found a person.
Right.
But we have all
There's-
these people who are usually the ones we're making fun of, suddenly making fun of this other little group.
Right.
I'm like, you all are
But
not.
now, because of TikTok, everybody is hexed to patriarchy. I just think that if everybody got together, and not even get together, I think that me personally, I would like to see like it start on like the East Coast. You know what I'm saying? And like at 6 o'clock, the East Coast, like the Eastern time zone, do a disillusionment spell. And then it just go at 6 o'clock in this time zone, 6 o'clock in this time zone, 6 o'clock. That way it's a rolling wave.
That would be so cool. Oh, I saw somebody do something like that. This is
As
one of the
opposed to, oh, we all have to do this at 11 o'clock in the morning Eastern Standard Time. Because I just think that if we just do a rolling wave
that would be
and
cool.
just do a disillusionment, I don't even want. This is going to sound so controversial to myself when I say this. I don't want to crush the Cheeto. You feel me? I don't want to hex the Cheeto. Okay? I
There's
want,
a factor.
and this is, let me tell you why. I don't want any harm to come to the Cheeto. At all.
I like
At all.
chocolate.
Because my little petty ass wants him to see himself fail.
I think he's gotten away with it. And that breaks my heart.
And see, that's the thing. I can't let myself believe that. I refuse to let myself believe that. I refuse to accept that because my parents, my grandparents, my parents, my sisters experienced segregation. You know what I'm saying? My
Right.
parents, my grandparents experienced segregation, and they lived through times where they didn't think anything was going to change. And it did. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I cannot sit here and see myself realistically giving up and losing faith that something better is coming.
See, this is why I like a good justice spell.
Because I see it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
My great grands and stuff, you know what I'm saying? My great grands, my great grands were slaves. You know what I'm saying? My father was in the military. He served in the Korean War when the military was still segregated. My uncle, my dad's brother, was a Tuskegee Airman when it was segregated. Now they're not segregated. There were places, there are still sundown towns. There were places that as a Black woman, I would not have been allowed to walk into, 70 years ago.
I mean, to be
You know
fair,
what I'm
there are
saying?
things that I
And,
still.
and my sister is 72. You know what I'm saying? So when my sister was born, there were places that my mom and dad couldn't walk into because they had color on their skin. And things changed. So I have to have faith that better things are coming. And I want to be a part of that. And I want other people to be a part of that. So instead of being like, oh, fuck everybody, do the disillusionment.
You know what? Let's fucking work this out. If we're gonna do this, let's fucking do
the
this.
thing is, though, is I think it needs to start here.
All right. Let's get started right now, man.
That, so if there's people listening in other states, other time zones, or whatever, it needs to start at home.
I agree. And you know what? This is another thing, because this is a big part of the activist movement now, is because this is such a tremendous task. This is a thing that is so far above every single one of us. But your local government is not. Your local government, you can get somebody like, I am working to get a guy elected.
Right.
I signed up, I put my money down to run for the House of Delegates. And then another guy popped up, and I think he's going to be better at getting elected. So I backed out and threw my weight behind him.
Right. And he was wonderful, because I listened to him talk the other day. And my friend Elena, she's in, and she's like down by St. Albans and stuff. She's not in my area, but if I could vote for her, I absolutely would.
There's other things we can do besides just vote, but if we do like local magic, I think like if we start where we are,
and that's something too, because that's also part of the why are you hexing the government in DC, the people in DC, when you need to work on the people local.
Rage. Honestly, like I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I haven't done that shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and it's deep rooted. Oh, it's deep rooted. But I feel that if we're going to make a change, we have to change right here, right now.
I'm serious about this disillusionment spell. I say we put it together.
Yes, and then it needs to move. If we can get better people locally, you know what I'm saying? If we can get better people locally and work on what's going on in our state, our senators and
God, fucking Shelley Moore Capito. I hope, just fuck her all the way. I'm trying not to lose my shit. Sorry, but yes, I think that it is time to replace.
Yes.
It is time to replace them. Like, we used to be a blue state. Now we're a red state, but it's the same asses and the same seats. Explain that, America.
No. Explain that, West Virginia.
Explain that, West Virginia. And you know what? That breaks my heart, because we have been exploited historically. West Virginia is the toilet of America.
Absolutely.
Our fucking water in Wyoming, they haven't had water. I was listening to a report from a guy.
Water in Flint.
Right. No, I mean, like, Wyoming, like, we're talking about closer. They tested the water in Wyoming, and it was worse than the water in Flint.
Yeah.
Because of coal runoff. And Wyoming County, West Virginia. I don't know what's going on in the state Wyoming. I'm nowhere near there. I'm in West Virginia. I'm talking about the West Virginia water crisis. We knew, and we know, and they've been doing it. Like, there are people who haven't had a shower in 6 years. They have to go to like someplace else.
Yeah.
That destroys an area.
And it's not a matter of boil the water.
No, you can't.
It's not a matter of boil the water. You literally have to filter it so many times just to be able to bathe in it. You can't drink the water.
No, you cannot drink the water.
It's
dangerous. People get burned. Get burns from the water.
That's the thing. We need to start here. We need to not hex the patriarchy, because it's not really the patriarchy's fault at this point.
you know what? I'm not going to say not hex the patriarchy because you know my ass. Like, allegedly, I will definitely go and fucking, like,
But
there's definitely some things you can do.
But this is the thing, though.
I will say magic alone is masturbatory. Like, if you're just doing magic and doing nothing else, then you might as well be blowing yourself.
Right. At this point in 2026, okay, it's not the patriarchy's fault. It's not. It's not. It's us. Because there are people who aren't voting because they feel like it's not going to make a difference. So if you're not voting because you feel like you're not going to make a difference, guess what happens? You don't make a difference.
Yeah. And you're weakening your own fucking magic. Like, this is the thing. If you do all this magic, and don't get me wrong, like, I wouldn't test either one of us. Let's just put it there. But also, our asses have been to protests. You know,
definitely.
We're backing our magic up with real ass action.
Right. Right. And that's what I'm saying. There are people out there, and I'm not saying it's everybody. There are people out there that are fuck the patriarchy, hex the patriarchy, hex the patriarchy.
And then they're not voting. Else.
But they're not voting.
Oh my God.
They're not out at the protests. They're not out at the rallies.
Right.
They're not out at the policy days. You know what I'm saying? And but you want to hex the patriarchy. And at this point, it's not the patriarchy's fault anymore. We can't keep blaming the patriarchy when we have enough people to vote for change.
I agree. I don't know that we're going to necessarily, we can't just vote. And I will say this. I understand why people, especially if you live in an area that is out in the woods, like, you know, we got a lot of country. We got a lot of God country around here. And I understand being afraid of your neighbor or your boss seeing a clip of you at a protest. I get that. I have plenty of friends that are signing petitions and they are calling. There's 5callsaday.org. It's 5calls.org is one place. But also you can follow the ACLUWV.org. You can go to West Virginia Rivers Coalition. I think it's Rise Up From Below, or is it From Below? That's the Southern. If you Google Coalfield Justice, they will come up.
Right.
There are people doing.
But that's what I'm saying, though. If you're going to, I'm not okay. If you want to hex the patriarchy, all I'm asking is if you want to hex the patriarchy, hex the right ones. You know what I'm saying? Don't hex the right ones. You don't have to be super specific, but work it out to where the good ones don't get hit too. You feel me?
I don't know where the line is anymore. Because at some point, if you are participating in the destruction of your fellow man, fuck you.
But I'm gonna say it one more time. Sometimes you have to take the lesser evil. Okay? Sometimes it has to happen. And no, it shouldn't happen, but sometimes it has to. But there are politicians that are out there that are fighting the good fight.
Right, like Bernie Sanders.
Right. You know what I'm saying? But if you hex the patriarchy, guess who else is getting hit? Bernie.
You know what? This is
what
an
I'm saying?
argument.
So that's what I'm saying. Just be selective. You know, be careful when you do it.
You know? One of those things, if you're doing any spell, you should lock down the unintended effect.
Right. But this is the thing, though. You can't just do the spell. You know, like with Christians, because Lord knows I love my Christians out there.
I know some amazing Christians, and I know some that I would like to set on fire.
But this is the thing, though. A lot of Christians will sit and they will pray and pray and pray and pray and pray for something to change. But they don't do the work to help it change. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and as a pagan, as a practicing crafter, I know that I can sit here and do the spell. You feel me? I can do the spell, but I also have to do the other things that work around the spell. I can't just do the spell and yes, when you do the spell and you walk away.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You do the spell and you walk away. But I can't sit here and do a spell and say, "Hey, I need $5,000. You know, I need money. I'm not even going to put a number on it. I need money," and do the spell for money and think that the money's just going to show up at my door. It happens, yeah. But a lot of times you have to go to work and you get a raise. You go outside and you get a new job. You go outside and buy a lottery ticket and you win. You know, your hated uncle,
Get a lot of clients.
right? You know what I'm saying? Business perks up. You know, your hated Uncle Rex dies and leaves you $5,000 in his will. Something happens. Something has to happen. You can't just, yes, you walk away and you forget about it, but there are other things that you can do to help that work. So yeah, if you want to, you know, do this spell for the disillusionment, if you want to do this spell because you don't like your personal, you know, your politician, and you want to throw whatever you want to at him, hypothetically.
Allegedly.
You know what I'm saying? Do it if that's what you want to do. But don't let that be the only thing that you do.
I agree. I absolutely agree on that fact. I would
You
love, you know what? Let us, like, because this might be an interesting time. Do we want to walk through developing a usable disillusion spell, or do we want to do that off camera and maybe next episode present it?
I would like to do that off camera. And we can like flesh it out, write it out. You feel me?
Right, yeah, go location. This would be really cool.
And
we can do this one like
we can do this one outside.
yeah.
You feel me? Yeah.
We have a no cursing in the house policy because
But I don't think that the disillusionment would be a curse.
No, it wouldn't be. I would definitely probably
But,
selenite. Those are my two go-to for disillusionment.
But like work out the disillusionment. Excuse me. And post it. You know, the next one we do, talk about what they, you know, what we're, you know, what's needed. Maybe list a couple of sources where they can get it, you know, relatively decent. Like, you know, list the ingredients or whatever, explain it to them and post it in the chat, you know, post it in the comments, or, you know, tell them to pause it or whatever. Yeah. You feel me?
Yeah. Do we want to do that like a live? Let's flesh this out later. Let's flesh it out later.
Yeah, we'll flesh that later. But but my thing is just I don't see.
Oh, I was going to tell you the reason I was kind of talking earlier about Justice and Jubilee is what we do is we watch, like we have watchers. There's a couple of people who literally, our head lady will get a list of bills that have potential Christian nationalism. That's the focus of that group. Like there's other groups doing the same thing, focusing on other issues, but our group focuses on Christian nationalism. So they're literally watching all the fucking prayers. Oh my God, the fucking prayers make me so pissed off. But they're also, they're also.
Can't even say it. Hold on. So for those of you who are not in West Virginia, they are trying to have a Charlie Kirk Day.
Jeez, no, they've got it pushed through. They got it pushed through.
Holy goodness.
Fucking through. Like we've got fucking it's gonna be in fucking October.
Yeah, so in October we're having a Charlie Kirk Day.
In West Virginia. And it's funny because I have lost friends over not mourning Charlie Kirk.
I mean, this is the thing. I'm not gonna say that I mourned Charlie Kirk because I didn't.
He's
but
a fucking monster.
Am I happy that he's dead? No. You know why? Because it made him into a martyr, and now we have Charlie Kirk thing.
Agreed. Absolutely fucking agreed. Like, honestly, I don't even whatever, dude. Like, you
Yeah.
made a living off of being as hateful as humanly possible, and it worked for you. But this is what happens when you want to be a pawn in a big game. Like, he was living his life. This is like that whole human sacrifice thing. He got everything he wanted. This is what it means to sell your fucking soul. You always sell your soul at a goddamn discount. You will never get what it's worth when you sell it. It's better to sacrifice it. But he sold his soul to get all that money, to get the prestige. Look into Erica Kirk. She is, I don't know if she's a pawn or what.
Look, we won't even go there. We won't even go into what I feel like she is. But
he sold his soul and they tried to do, and you can't convince me that, because the way he died and the way that Trump got shot, there's too much alike.
Yeah.
And now NSA is listening.
Right, because that's what they do.
Give us the views, motherfucker. If you're going to listen, then you better like and share and subscribe.
High five. But
sorry, I had a moment.
But yeah, that's the thing though, you know, and one of the other things that I am very much aware of, because I have friends in the military, friends and family, a lot of times, I know a young lady and she's in the military and she's literally like 23. And she was deployed to DC like this week.
Fucking
and
hell.
And she, bless her heart, she's worried. You know, she's worried. Rightfully so. But she signed up at a time where, and I have older people that are in the military as well, that they signed up at a time where it was about protecting the country from other people, from other countries.
Right. And there's a nobility and a paycheck.
And, you know, and now they're in the military and they're being sent to like Chicago and places in the United States, cities in the United States, to protect the country from its citizens.
Yeah.
And they feel that the country's not worth protecting.
You know, here in West Virginia, we'll say this, here in West Virginia, we still very much support our troops. And
without question. No. But it's hard to be sent somewhere to protect something
that you don't believe in anymore.
That doesn't believe in you anymore.
Right. And I'm like, I will say this, like, I don't think war is necessary. I think the whole industrial, like, war machine is fucked up, and there's no reason we're spending so much money on defense. But that is not the fault of the soldier. And I know a lot of veterans who, because it is, I support our veterans. I support our
absolutely
soldiers. I do not support the cause that they often get sent to die for.
Yes.
I don't think there was any reason, like, probably since World War II, somewhere around there, most operations that America has gotten involved in were probably just to line the pockets of rich men.
Yeah. And so, like, in conclusion, I'm not against doing a disillusionment spell. I'm not against spells against certain bills and things like that. I just think we need to start at home.
I do like the idea of a more targeted work, like, especially if you are a solo practitioner, doing more targeted work is going to be more effective.
Yeah, because trying to
take on Donald Trump's egg revolt.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Trying to target the government in general, you're aiming at people in Texas. You don't know these people. You don't know what these people stand for the most part. We do, for the most part. But you know what I'm saying?
I get it. And I don't know
what it is. Like, they legit might be, like, there might be somebody in Texas that's like, oh, I need this bill to pass, because, you know what I'm saying? Because if it passes, then this one thing that's really good for my people passes.
right.
And if we're hexing the people in Texas because we're hexing everybody, that one bill that might be that one good thing is going to get nixed.
I will say, like, one of the better ones I've seen. Okay, so this is out there. This is out in the world. So I will edit in a picture, because I do try to edit out, just like we got long pauses or buzzes or whatever. But there was a banana. I'm Mikhail. We've talked about this. You know.
I mean, Conjure.
Yes. Ta-da. So I'm in like chaos magic groups online, and I find them absolutely hilarious. And it's the kind of humor you can only get if you are invested in that kind of magic. So this group decided to do a banana. What was it? They called it was a banana hex. It was a banana hex.
It was a justice spell against the Epstein class.
A justice, yes. What he said. The justice, it was inherently a justice spell regarding the paderasses and of government, specifically, which at that point, I don't care. You can't do good enough to make up for fucking a kid.
Right.
You know what? That's a fairly safe target. So we did, they had a sigil, a list of approved targets, like vague enough that you'd have to admit you're an asshole to say that we pointed it at you.
Right.
You know what? You would have to admit to another crime. Whatever.
To complain about getting hit by this. Yes.
Right.
No innocent people were targeted by that thing.
Understood.
There were no innocent bystanders. And it rolled, like what you were talking about, how it rolled.
Mm-hmm.
It went off on 2:22, and you were supposed to do the spell at either 2:22 a.m.
Go ahead.
or 2:22 p.m.
Right.
And it was such a fun little spell. Like, I realized, like, yes, a lot of us are putting rage into it, but if you're working with chaos magic, then you know that sometimes rage and joy
are the same. They are two sides of the same coin.
Yes.
And the whole point is to flip that coin in there. Yeah.
Right. And laughter is the only emotion that is the opposite of itself. So if you can do a lot of strong work with just the power of
absolutely. Oh, I don't mean to yawn.
That's all right. It's like 7:00 here. I think we've actually done well. When did we start? Because this thing does not tell me how long we've been doing this.
I have no idea. Like 6, 5, just before 6, about 6. We've been at it for about an hour.
Okay. Folks, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Right. I will say this, like, this is something I've noticed, like, a lot of different times. This is what I want to say about the person who calls themselves president of the United States. I do think that he is too far mentally gone to get justice, to be able to receive the kind of justice that I would want to see. But I do think that at some point, I don't know that he is even really a human, but a byproduct, almost like a plot device. I am convinced that some people
plot device definitely.
Real.
Plot device definitely. I I tell myself several times a day that that he is who and what he is, and I am doing my best to convince myself that there are no strings being pulled on him, that he is not a puppet, because I would hate to think that I would hate to think of what is worse behind him. You feel me?
Right.
But
Honestly, I think we know. We know
That-
because he's propped
yeah.
up with
Yeah.
everybody's doing what he wants to get him to comply, but
Right.
we all know about the Heritage Foundation.
Right. But that being said, I would not, and I say it again, I would not do anything to him because I have no reason to. You know what I'm saying? But I want I want the eyes of everybody to be open. You know, I want people to see him for the racist, misogynistic thing that he is.
I think we're going through some sort of grand awakening on this one. I think the Epstein files, I think between watching Minnesota fight the government, like
And places
when
in
your
California,
grandma's out there,
you know, they went to Compton. ICE went to Compton. What made them think they were going to walk into a majority Black neighborhood and go after people of color? You know what I'm saying?
right,
That was stupid as hell. But yeah, I think that we need to talk to each other better. I think that we need to communicate better. I think that we should be loving our fellow people the way that we're supposed to, the way that we lie and say we do.
you know,
You know, and I do think that we should, you know, open the eyes of other people. And I say that and I stand behind it. But also as a Black woman that has been targeted by the police, that, you know, there are still towns in 2026 that I know full well I can't go to. You know,
well, I
and
remember inviting
so
you to my
I
wedding.
worry about those things. You know, I worry about those things. I know that I stand out in a crowd. I love the fact that I stand out in a crowd until I stand out in the crowd. You know?
Yeah. Well,
And-
I remember inviting you to the because we got married technically twice,
right,
and one of those was in my hometown.
right.
And
Up
coming
on
to
top of the mountain.
right, and kind of like because and it is so funny the difference between like the egregore of the town, this and the individuals of the town. You know what I mean? Like because you go out and a lot of the preconceived notions I had about the town were because people are flying Trump flags and the Rebel Jack in town.
Right.
You
And
know?
they mean it. But
then
does that mean that everybody in town means it? No. Is it not safe for me to be in that town? I'm fine going there because I know where I'm going.
right.
I mean, I wouldn't be able to make it back up on the hill, but you know what
We're
I'm saying?
talking about the hill, though.
But-
Like, that's a
But
whole.
just to be in the town, I'm okay with that. Like, you know, I've worked in the town and had clients in that town and I stayed there. You know what I'm saying? Walk down the street, all of that stuff. But I also know that if those posters and those signs and things, those flags are out there, I know that I'm in more danger.
Yeah.
And
And
it's
I
not
can
just,
hide.
it's not just because it's there's more weaponizing of the police now.
Yeah.
You know, people feel like, oh, I follow Trump, I can say anything that I want to. And they come out of their mouths with some of the craziest things.
I have noticed a
And
massive
then
shift since
when
like
you say something back to them and show them that they're wrong or just, you know, disagree with them, then, oh my gosh, they're being attacked and they want to call the cops.
yeah. That weaponized whiteness.
Yeah, I literally, oh, so you'll love this. I work near one of the major hospitals in Charleston. And I walk past this hospital every day. And I went to the store that's near the hospital and had somebody out in the parking lot say, "Oh, I like your hair." So of course I'm like, "Thanks." And she was like, "Come here so I can touch it." And I'm like, "No." And she's like, "No, for real, come here so I can touch it."
Was she
And the way
old?
she said it, no, she was not old.
Oh,
The way she said it was like, if you know, you know. Like if you've ever had your mom tell you to go and do something and you're like, "Okay, give me just a second." And she's like, "No, like now." Like that's the tone of voice she tried to use. And it was so funny. And she was like, "Well, stand right there. I'm on my way." And I was like, "No, you can't touch my hair." And she was like, "Yes, I can." And I was like, "No, you can't." And I told her flat out, "If you touch me, I'm going to hit you." Flat out. "If you touch me, I am going to hit you." And she turned and looked at a cop and was like, "Did you hear her threaten me? She's threatening to hit me."
what'd the cop say?
He said, "Did you threaten to hit her?" And I looked him dead in his face. "Yes." And he goes, "Why did you threaten her?" I said, "Because she told me she was going to touch my hair, whether I gave her permission or not." And he looks at her and he's like, "Are you trying to touch her hair?" And she's like, "Yeah, it's not going to hurt it if I touch it." And he was like, "So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you touch her hair." And she's got this smug look on her face. And she's like, "See?" And I'm looking at him like, "Oh, no, you did not just say this shit." And he goes, "But I'm also going to let her beat your ass if you do it."
Good on him.
You know, not all cops are bad,
And I
right?
was just sitting there like, "Yes," you know? And she was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, you can't touch her if she doesn't want you to touch her."
That is
And
assault.
she was like, "It's just hair." And he was like, "So if she walks over and pulls your hair," she's like, "Why would she do that? That makes no sense." And he was like, "So why do you want to touch her hair?"
That is so fucking weird.
And I was just like, finally, a cop, you know, like, yay. But yeah, yeah. So yeah, things are being weaponized now. Skin color especially. Sexuality is being weaponized. And the government is giving all the bullets out.
Yeah. I think it's true. I think that here's the things. I don't think it necessarily made more racists. I think it's just, I don't think it made more bigots. I think it just made everybody realize that they were bigoted.
It emboldened them.
It did. Because
It's no, it didn't all of a sudden pop up with more racists. No, it didn't. But it
made
because
people stand on business.
when you have a president that is taking out full page ads to get teenagers of color put in prison
Oh God.
for a crime they did not commit, it emboldens people. And I don't care what anybody says. I truly do not care what anybody says. And I stand on this hill. White people know that they have a privilege over, and I'm not saying that they're better than black people because I don't mean that at all. But white privilege exists.
It does. Okay, so this is something I know, I kind of know where you're going, and I've got an interesting perspective because I won't say I was never like a hooded bitch. You know what I mean? I was never, but I
Right.
lived in a place where
There
here's
were
the thing
hooded
a lot
bitches.
about. Well, there's a lot. Here's the thing about West Virginia. There are anywhere you go, there are at least two versions of that place. In West Virginia, there's not much more than those two versions of that place. You got the people who kind of go to church, who are involved in the schools, they're living their lives, they're respectable. And then you got the kind of people that are going to show up at a bar on a Friday night who are, spending too much time there.
Mhm.
And certainly, and it's not always necessarily just racism, because I have seen this happen with people who were just passing through, just strangers.
Mhm.
But the most racist thing I have ever witnessed happened at a fucking Walmart in my old hometown. This gentleman of color and an elderly woman that I am going to assume is, you know, a family member. They were checking out, and I hear him yell. Like, they're over in the self-checkout, and I hear him yell, and I know that, like, I watched a bunch of fucking rednecks look around and show their fucking guns. And the guy and his mother, aunt, whatever, checked out and got out of there. But that shit happened in real life.
Right. And so I'm going to tell you something, and you know I love you, right?
Right. I'm sure
The
that's
way
not the system you've seen.
The way you cut me off is white privilege. Because you just said, oh, I think I know where you're going, and you just took off with it.
Well, that's actually ADHD, but that's beside the point.
But the thing is that there are so many people that are emboldened now. Like you just said, flashing the gun in Walmart.
Yeah.
You know, 10, 15 years ago, you wouldn't have done that.
No. Well, this was
And
fucking.
let me rephrase it.
Probably
Outside of our patch of Appalachia, and by our patch, I mean literally the whole range. You wouldn't do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? They wouldn't have done that like in Ohio. You know what I'm saying? 10, 15 years ago, they wouldn't have just been flashing guns like that in Ohio. They wouldn't have been flashing guns like that in you know, Texas. They would have. But you know what I'm saying? It wouldn't have been as prevalent. You know, now it's everywhere.
right.
You know what I'm saying? It's everywhere. And it makes me wonder, you know, like I've been pulled over because I used to drive a Charger. I got pulled over because, and the first thing they said to me was, whose car is this? Because it can't be my Charger. You know, I've had people tell me that they were going to touch my hair with or without my permission. I made a comment outside. I was on the phone, made a comment about the fact that I have freckles, and had a white person tell me black people don't have freckles. You must be mixed. Black people don't really have freckles unless they're mixed. Had a lady today. She said, "Oh, I like your hair." I was like, "Thank you." And she looked at me. She goes, "Where'd you get it from? Is it real?" I was like, "Yeah." And she goes, "Well, I mean, I know it's real. I can tell it's real, but where did you buy it from?" Yeah. So, yeah, leave that pause in there because that's a lot to think on. People are bolder now.
They are.
And it's both. It's all the races. It's not just white people that are bolder. Although it is cute now that white people are bolder with some of this dumbass shit that they say. And then black people are bolder with the responses. You know, it's different. It's different, and it needs to change. Do I think we need to go back into the secrecy and shit? No, because that's dangerous. But something's got to give.
I think people are also bolder to stand up now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, something's got to give. I don't want to go back to the secrecy. I don't want to go back to the hiding and the whispering. And although doing a disillusionment spell, that would, you know.
Oh, look, I'm down. If you're down, I'm down. Let's fucking go.
You know, what I do secretly. So,
well, there is personal practice, and then there's like, you know, because we can all do a love the light circle. Like,
can we?
I mean, not really, but that's not the point.
So, right. But we could try, you know.
I mean,
but that's the thing. I honestly think that we have more in common than we don't. You know, we have way more in common than we don't. And I think that if we just are able to talk to the people that are like us, and it doesn't mean that they have to be pagan, just if they just think like we do, just a little bit.
You know what? That's funny because I've been working with the West Virginia Faith Coalition in West Virginia. You know, like, and I'm not the only pagan working with the group. I'm one of the only pagan like clergy.
Right.
I'm trying to get us in there, y'all. I want to get West Virginia Pagan Pride. Man, I'm telling you what, we're gonna be a thing.
We are a thing.
We are a thing. We are a fucking thing. We send in the paperwork so we can start doing. It's like we can go from Metro Valley Pagan Pride to West Virginia Pagan Pride. We're gonna do a whole logo contest, and we want to be able to, like, first off, because there's two big problems that we face. We have this outside perspective that is being fueled by anti-pagan propaganda. There's the same shit that I think every minority has to deal with. But because we're an invisible minority, people can just tuck away their pentagram and pass.
Yeah, it's not a
you can hide. It's invisible.
Skin color. It's not. Yeah. It's not something that we're marked. Although somebody said something about that they would like to. Yeah.
I need to get me a pentagram the size of Flavor Flav's clock. I will walk up and down the street with it. I do not care.
What?
I'm just saying.
No. He needs no more inspiration to get a bigger clock. Okay. If you match his clock, he's gonna want a bigger one. He needs no more inspiration.
I need a pentagram the size of my ring light, like about that big. Just
Bless
like,
it.
I got t-shirts, but you can't wear that same t-shirt every day, or that's a whole nother standing out that I don't need to do.
Yeah. Bless it.
I forgot where I was going with this. There, I had a real point. There was a point there. It is gone.
So let's just close it out because my mind is starting to growl. And
Honestly, yeah, it is 7:30. We had had this about an hour and a half. I am starting to melt.
well, my mind is starting to growl. I have I have some things I want to do, some things I need to do.
Fair enough.
I am reworking some protection for a loved one, and that is always a weird thing for me to do for them.
Fair enough.
I call it my love-hate relationship
Because
of the way that I put it together. But it definitely is something that needs to be done and taken care of. And my brain is starting to growl at me like,
you got shit to do.
Yeah.
All right, folks. You know what? When we're off camera, you and I can start working out details, but like, leave us comments below on what you think should go into a disillusionment spell.
Right.
What kind of magic have you done to improve the course of reality?
Right. Do not tell us if you have hexed specific
Yeah, don't admit to shit in our fucking comments.
Right. Don't say that you have hexed anyone specifically, because we do not condone that. And we don't condone you hexing anyone specifically. Because I personally think that hexes are bad, like flat out. But if you're doing protection magic and you're protecting yourself from someone, that's different.
You know what? That is
it's all in the wording. It's all in the wording.
I'll do a whole video on because if you guys ever watch, there's one of my favorite channels. I watch this instead of drama. I don't watch drama YouTube. I try to avoid it, but instead I will watch I will watch like baneful magic channels, and because I'm just like, holy shit. But there is one that just gets my heart every time. If you all get a chance to watch White Raven, she does some pretty heavy, baneful magic, but her thing, part of her practice, is that you have to be so very justified. She says it in every fucking video.
Oh, good.
Every
Yeah.
time she says, you are putting the pain that they have caused you, you are causing the turmoil that they have caused you into this spell.
Right.
And when you do that, it is more likely to be directed to where it goes. It needs to go.
Right. Right. But yeah,
Sometimes-
yeah.
I will get us talking again.
But yeah, so leave a comment, your suggestions on what should go into this disillusionment spell. And just for the record, because a lot of people like, I know what herbs and things that I use when I do things, and oils and things, and I know what they mean, and I know what their purpose is when I'm using them. A lot of people don't know that, unfortunately. They don't know that different things can be used for more than one purpose. So if you're going to list an
And some are
ingredient,
toxic.
some are very toxic. So if you're going to list an ingredient or make a suggestion on something that should go into the disillusionment spell, explain why. You know what I'm saying? Say,
You're gonna
hey,
tell-
I
well,
only use,
anything.
you know, like this particular herb for this reason.
And stones too. Anything. If you're
Yeah,
gonna
and
if you're
stones.
gonna suggest something to put in the spell, please give us some rationale.
Right. Yeah, do that. If you want to, take part, subscribe, follow, watch for us the next time, and we'll put a date out. We'll have to do that. We'll have to do the thing, do the podcast, and then say, hey, this is what day we're either going to go live, or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
Get
can.
all the stuff together, and then we'll do it all together type of thing. I think that would be cool.
Do we want to do because we could put a page up on my website. I got DottieThePsychic.com. DOTTIE psychic.com. We'll try to have some ideas and put together, and we can put an announcement up there. I will be glad to blast it out on my social media. I have not been.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that we should have I think that once we work it out, before we actually do this spell, I think that we should sit and go on camera and record. This is what, this is what we're using. Yeah. And not do it, but say, hey, this is what we're using. We have this herb because of this. We have this because of this. We have this because of this. And, and explain to everybody what they need to have. And then,
and potential variants.
yeah,
To
absolutely.
be more accessible. I'm down for this.
I'm down. So let's do that. But
all right, we will have more details for you all. If you make sure to like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, do all the things, leave us comments and stuff.
there's a cat behind you.
There is a hello. Hi. I'm done if you're
I
done.
wanted you to know before the cat jumped onto the chair and you weren't prepared.
This is Onyx. Say hello. Hello. She's now going to go and knock everything off my table.
As she probably, yep, there it goes.
Oh, no, I put that in the drawer before she got a chance. All right, y'all. Any final thoughts?
That's it.
All right.
That's it. Have
Thank
a
you
good
all.
day.
Yeah.
Evening.
Watch out for the knot deer.
Look. The not a deer and the random ice patches.
Random ice pack. Man, that shit killed my brother. That fucking.
We're not talking about that. We're having a good day.
Sorry.
We're having good thoughts. We're not going to slide down that rabbit hole online.
We are out of time for this episode.
Yes.
We one of these days We need to do like a couple of episodes so we got one in our pocket so that we're not scrambling at the end of the damn month. Love you guys.
Bye.
Safe travel and much profit to you. Fuck, it's ingrained.
This is Jay.
This is Dottie.
Thanks for watching Chaos Conjure,
Now empty out your sippy cup.
and pack away your wands.
Make it home before the moon rises.
And
watch out for the knot deer.